time to dive into some smart money moves.
Yeah.
We're taking a deep dive into this YouTube video today.
Oh, yeah.
All about making that money of yours work harder, especially with inflation doing its thing, right?
Yes, good one.
Trying to eat away at our savings. We're going to uncover some seriously savvy strategies to protect your wealth and grow it, even if you're not, a Wall Street wizard.
Absolutely. This video really nailed it when it talked about how just like keeping all your cash in the bank might not be the smartest move these days.
Yeah, especially with inflation going crazy.
Yeah. It's kind of disheartening when you think about it.
It is.
Like your balance might be going up,
right?
But your money's actually losing value.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's like you think you're winning, but the finish line keeps moving.
Exactly. The video called it looking at your wealth in real terms.
Right.
Basically, what can your money actually buy?
Right. Purchasing power. That makes sense. So if we're not stuffing our mattresses with cash, what are we doing? This video had some pretty interesting alternatives.
Yeah, definitely.
They started with this idea of God's money, which sounds a little dramatic.
It does a bit.
But they're talking about precious metals.
Yeah.
Gold, silver, platinum, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Classic strategy for beating inflation.
Really?
Gold especially. It's held its value for, well, forever, basically. Even when the economy gets rocky. They use this great example in the video. An ounce of gold back in the 50s.
Okay.
Costs like $400 today. Over $2,000.
Wow. That is a nice return.
Right.
But what makes these metals so special? I mean, is it just the shininess?
Well, the shine's a bonus. But seriously, they're scarce.
Okay.
You can't just print more gold. There's a limited amount.
Right.
And that makes them valuable. Plus, they have real uses.
Oh, interesting.
In industry, tech, think electronics, jewelry.
Oh, right.
Even dentistry uses gold.
So it's not just sitting pretty, it's actually useful.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to, invest in gold, do I need to go full Scrooge McDuck and get a giant safe?
No vault required.
Okay, good.
That's where gold ETFs come in.
ETFs?
Yeah, exchange-traded funds. Think of them like little pieces of gold.
Oh, okay.
You buy and sell them on the stock market.
Oh, interesting.
Easy peasy, even for beginners.
Way less intimidating than I thought. So besides God's money, what other treasures did this video dig up?
Well, they got into industrial commodities.
Okay.
Sounds kind of complex, but it's basically the raw materials that, make the world run.
Got it. So the stuff everything's made of.
Right.
Okay. Give me an example, though. Something I can picture.
Okay. How about cobalt? It's in, all electric car batteries.
Oh, right. Cobalt.
And as those cars get more popular,
which they are, for sure,
the need for cobalt just explodes.
So the demand goes way up.
Exactly. Video said cobalt prices doubled in the last 10 years.
Oh, doubled?
Yeah.
Imagine if you'd invested back then.
I know, right? That's wild. So this is about, understanding those trends, seeing what materials are going to be super important in the future.
Exactly. It's not just about, oh, this sounds cool.
Right. There's a bigger picture.
You got to think about where the world's going.
Okay. So how do I get in on this cobalt action? Do I need to start, mining?
Not quite. There are a few ways you could invest in mining companies directly.
Okay.
Or look at mutual funds that focus on these industrial metals.
Makes sense.
And if you're feeling really adventurous, there are futures and options.
Okay, maybe not for me.
Yeah, those are for the pros who know what they're doing.
Got it. This is making me rethink how I look at investing. I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah.
It's about thinking beyond that typical savings account.
Absolutely.
The video talked about safe haven currencies, too.
Oh, yes.
That sounds kind of like a spy movie.
It does, right? It's about recognizing that global events, they shake things up.
And some currencies are safer bets than others during those times.
So, when the world feels shaky, where do people put their money?
The Swiss franc is a classic example.
Oh, Switzerland, yeah.
They're neutral. I get it. But the next in the video talked about we use every day.
Oh, what's that?
The U.S. dollar.
Our dollar? What's so special about that?
It's about looking at it in a whole new way.
Okay, intrigue me. What's the secret life of the dollar bill?
Have you ever really looked at a dollar?
I mean, I use them, yeah.
It says, this note is legal tender, right on it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
For all debts, public and private. That phrase, legal tender, is key.
Okay, I'm listening. This is where it gets interesting, right?
Absolutely. Back in the day, the dollar was backed by gold, but not anymore.
Right.
Now it's all about trust, basically.
Trust her.
The full faith and credit of the U.S. government.
So, The dollar's only as good as the government's word. That's a lot of faith.
Well, governments really try to avoid defaulting.
Makes sense, I guess, if they did.
It would be chaos financially.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So how do we, like regular people, invest in this whole government guarantee thing?
That's where government-backed securities come in, or GSECs.
GSECs, okay.
Yeah. You can buy U.S. Treasury bills, notes, bonds.
Like loaning money to Uncle Sam.
Pretty much. And they pay a better return than your basic savings account.
So it's like Uncle Sam promises to pay you back with interest.
Exactly. The video stressed sticking to GSECs from strong, stable economies, though.
Right. Got to make sure Uncle Sam's got his financial act together.
Countries with good credit ratings,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's all about, like, managing that risk.
Precisely. And speaking of risk,
Uh-oh.
let's talk stocks.
Okay, the stock market. But before we get into specific stocks, the video made this distinction between value and growth stocks.
Yeah, it's an important one.
Explain it to me like I'm trying to pick a fantasy football team, okay?
All right, I like it. So, two teams. One's young, tons of potential, but unproven.
Okay, risky but could be amazing.
That's your growth stock. They could be superstars or they could totally flop.
Got it. High risk, high reward. What about the other team?
They're the veterans. Solid, reliable.
Steady Eddie, yeah.
They might not have that exclusive upside, but they're a safer bet.
Less likely to bust, huh?
Exactly. That's your value stock.
Okay, so less risky. But can value stocks still make you some serious money?
Maybe not touchdowns every game, but solid returns over time.
Makes sense.
Plus, they often pay dividends.
Dividends, those are like bonus points just for owning the stock, right?
You got it.
Yeah.
And if picking stocks isn't your thing, check out dividend-focused mutual funds.
Okay, I've heard of those.
It's like having a whole team of all-star value players.
Love it. Okay, so we've got precious metals, industrial stuff, safe haven currencies, now value stocks with their dividend bonuses. This video is a treasure map. What other exciting stops on this wealth-building journey?
Well, next up is something most people know about, but maybe don't think of as an investment.
Ooh, what's that?
Land, real estate.
Real estate, yeah. Most of us just think about buying a place to live, right?
True, but real estate's got these unique qualities, makes it really attractive, especially when you're fighting inflation.
All right, convince me. Why is real estate the inflation superhero?
Scarcity, my friend. We're not making more land.
That's true.
And the world's population keeps growing.
So more people, same amount of land.
Demand goes up, prices go up.
Makes sense. So even if the dollar's losing value, land tends to hold its own.
More than that, it usually goes UP in value.
It's like owning a piece of the earth as your backup.
Exactly. They even mention a study in the video. Housing prices tripled between 92 and 2020.
Tripled. Wow. Even with the 2008 crash.
Yep. Makes you think, huh?
It does. But let's be real, most of us can't just go buy a bunch of properties.
Fair point. That's where REITs come in.
REITs.
Real estate investment trusts.
Okay.
They're like mutual funds, but for real estate.
So I can invest in a bunch of properties without, actually owning them.
Exactly. No need to be a landlord unless you want to.
Right. Dealing with tenants, repairs, that's a whole other thing.
For sure. REITs let you dip your toes in the water.
I like that. Speaking of unique investments, the video wrapped up with something that sounds both super cool and kind of intimidating. Collectibles.
Ah, yes. Collectibles.
We're talking like vintage cars, rare artwork.
Limited edition stuff, the things that go UP in value because they're special.
They gave some crazy examples in the video.
Oh, yeah.
A Mercedes from the 50s selling for 135 million euros. A Da Vinci painting going for 450 million. Insane.
Those are the top of the top, of course.
Right.
But it shows the potential. Scarcity, historical value, cultural impact, all that drives the price up.
Okay, but most of us aren't dropping millions on a vintage car or a masterpiece anytime soon. Can regular people get in on this?
Absolutely. The video mentioned online marketplaces like Whatnot.
Whatnot? Okay.
You can buy and sell all kinds of stuff.
Like what?
Baseball cards, comic books, sneakers, vintage toys, all sorts.
So you can start small, see what you like, maybe find a hidden gem.
Exactly. It's a treasure hunt.
It is kind of like a treasure hunt.
Right. And if you want in on those big ticket items but don't have millions just lying around.
Yeah, who does?
There are platforms like Masterworks that let you own a fraction of something.
Wait, so I could own, like, a tiny piece of a Picasso?
Exactly. Makes those super exclusive things more attainable.
That's actually pretty cool. Talking about all this, it strikes me how it's all connected,
Oh, absolutely.
Like a giant web, tug on one strand.
It all moves.
It affects everything.
It's fascinating how these different assets, they kind of play off each other.
Yeah. Like we said, cobalt, it's huge EE for those electric car batteries.
Right.
So if you invest in cobalt, you're kind of betting on electric cars taking off.
Which is tied to green energy, the whole climate change thing.
It's all connected. It's like a chain reaction.
Exactly. It's an economic ecosystem, understanding that.
It's like a giant puzzle.
It helps you make smarter choices.
Right. Each piece fits in a certain way.
If you think electric vehicles are the future, you don't just invest in cobalt.
You think bigger.
The companies making those cars, the charging stations, it all plays a part.
This deep dive's been amazing. We went from don't hoard cash to all these alternative investments.
And ways to protect your wealth, even if you're not, a financial expert.
Exactly. And we talked about diversifying, managing risk, and never stop learning.
Crucial. It's not about get rich quick.
Right. It's about building a portfolio that fits you.
Your situation, how much risk you're comfortable with.
Your goals. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's about staying informed. Things change constantly.
absolutely. Stay curious, keep learning, and never be afraid to ask questions.
So much great info packed into this one video. I feel like I have a whole new way of looking at investing.
That's what we like to hear. It's about making your money work for you.
Exactly. Not the other way around.
This is just the start, though. Remember that. Financial literacy, it's a journey.
Not a destination, yeah.
The more you learn, the more confident you'll be with your money.
Well said. And for everyone listening out there, we want to hear from you.
Yeah?
Which of these assets got you thinking? What were your biggest takeaways? Hit us up on social media.
We love hearing from you.
Share your thoughts. As always, thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deeper.